All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig in a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er recap and some of the themes of their Week 2 loss up in Minnesota after watching the thing and then watching some of the highlights and watching it a little bit again. I haven't done the total rewatch yet, but we're brought to you by Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Go say hi to Damon. Go say hi to Mary. Get some brisket chili. Tell them that Krug sent you. And this video also brought to you by Mancini's Sleep World. Loving Mancini's. Loving my Mancini's bed. They're a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. They offer a 120-night guarantee with a range of brands and price points. Mancini's. With Mancini's, you get free next-day delivery. Click the link below or go to sleepworld.com to find a bed that works for you. Whether you're shopping online or visiting in store, use the code KRUG10 and you'll get 10% off. That's KRUEG 10, and you'll get 10% off in store or online at sleepworld.com. All right, let's talk a little bit about Niners Vikings. I thought really there were three parts of this game. You had the first half that was defined by huge negative plays from the 49ers. I mean, the Niners in the first half alone had a Mitch Wishnowsky punt blocked. They failed on a 4th and goal from the 2-yard line when Purdy's pass to Juwan Jennings was tipped at the line of scrimmage. So that was incomplete. Jair Brown got way too aggressive and got burned for a Justin Jefferson 97-yard touchdown bomb over the top. So, like, the worst thing that you could think of is if you're Nick Sorensen is, man, they might get over the top on us with Justin Jefferson. They did. They got over the top against Jair Brown and George Odom. And then you get stuffed on 4th and 2 at the 43-yard line. And a penalty on Ayuk, an illegal shift, causes a loss of downs on 4th down, and so you lost two drives on 4th downs. You gave up a 97-yard touchdown. You had a punt blocked. So you failed on special teams, you failed on defense, you failed on offense. So that's really what jumped out in the first half. In the second half, Nick Bosa went down with an injury, and though he did come back in the game, that was the good news. But Brock Purdy was intercepted by Josh Metellus on a ball that was tipped in the middle of the field. Isaac Yiadom saved the day. Without Yiadom's 2 huge fumble recoveries, the 49ers would have gotten their doors blown off. The Niners give up a sack to Pat Jones II to end one of the drives that they had going in the third quarter. Jacob Cowing muffed a punt badly, and that was another ball that Yiadom fell on, so that prevented a turnover. Purdy's interception by Metellus, by the way, at the Niner 10-yard line, and that was particularly painful because it was so deep in the Niner territory, and Darnold on the very next play hit Jalen Naylor, who really beat Mooney Ward on a play-action pass to make it 20-7, putting the Niners into the biggest hole they had been in all day, down 13 points. So, I mean, it was a collective effort. Purdy also fumbled on 3rd and 15 from the 4-yard line, from the Minnesota 4-yard line. And Jihad Ward with the fumble recovery. It was ruled an interception, and they later changed it to a fumble. But that's a huge turnover. So you turn the ball over, deep in your own territory and gave up a touchdown on the next play. You turn the ball over on the 4-yard line. So the offense, 2 massive gaffes. And then, the special teams, the muff punt by Cowing, I mean, that obviously didn't burn the Niners because Yiadom fell on it, but it could have. And then the defense, I mean, you lose contain, and you let Justin Jefferson get over the top on you. So, I mean, there were a lot of things to point to offensively and defensively in the first half and second half. But still, if you look at this game, the 49ers get that huge forced fumble from Fred Warner on the screen pass to Aaron Jones that Yiadom recovered in the end zone. So the Niners I thought it was in the end zone, but it was actually at the 1 yard line. So the Niners, with their 10th possession, this is late third quarter, early fourth quarter, get the ball back down 20-7. And here's where I think they kind of failed twice. They're down 20-7. It's the fourth quarter is just underway. They're getting the ball back. You would think that they could play some kind of hurry up and work tempo and get down the field quickly. Instead, they go on this laborious 12-play, 99-yard drive that took an eternity, 4 runs, 8 passes. I know you're trying to maintain a little offensive balance, but at this point, man, you probably wanted to go more pass than run. But either way, it results in a 10-yard touchdown for J.P. Mason, and you're down 20-14. But it took a 12-play, 99-yard drive. You took a bunch of time off the clock. When Minnesota got the ball back, there was 10 minutes and 16 seconds left in the fourth quarter. So I thought the Niners kind of failed offensively on that drive where they ultimately scored their final touchdown. Credit Purdy taking them from the 1 all the way down the field, and Kyle for some of the play calling on that drive, but it took a lot of time. And then you figure, okay, well, they're down now 6 points. They've got the momentum. There's over 10 minutes and 16 seconds to play. So 10 minutes plus to play. And Minnesota's getting the ball. And at this point, they didn't have Jordan Addison all day. They didn't have TJ Hawkinson all day. They've now pretty much lost Jones, the running back. He was not 100%. And Jefferson was out of the game. So you had no Jefferson, no Addison, no Hawkinson, and really no Jones. And you've got Sam Darnold without any of his weapons, nursing a 6-point lead against your supposedly great defense. And what does that great defense do? It allows the Vikings to go down the field on a 14-play drive that lasted over 6 minutes, where they converted on 3rd and 7 from the 33-yard line when Darnold threw to Powell, who was wide freaking open. Ward and Yadam with a terrible communication mishap on that first 3rd down. That kept the drive alive. Then they get to 3rd and 8 on their own 41, and Darnold finds Naylor for 27 yards. That right there. You have no Hawkinson, no Addison, no Justin Jefferson, and you give up a 27-yard pass play on 3rd and 8 to a young kid like Naylor. That was unforgivable. And then they get to 3rd and 2 at the 20, and Darnold finds Powell for 5 more yards to keep the drive going. And that was it. They let the Vikings drive all the way down the field. Reichert kicks a 28-yard field goal, 14-play drive, ball game, 23-14. 23-14, you're down 9, that's 2 scores. The Niners would get the ball back, and they would drive down into the red zone. But Purdy, with a low percentage throw, threw Van Ginkel's arms on the ball to Debo. I hated that call. They should have gone to the end zone. Instead, they went to Debo, and they settled for the Jake Moody 31-yard field goal and the onside kick. And everybody knows onside kicks, don't really work in the NFL. The percentage of hitting them is super low, and they didn't hit it. Minnesota gets the onside kick, and they win the game. So the Niners have now lost 8 straight trips to Minnesota. They haven't won there since 1992. Purdy's got to shoulder the blame for the turnovers and the fact that the Niners offense was 2 for 10 on 3rd downs. That's a big part of why they lost this game. They also could not stop the run. Ty Chandler went for 8-2 a carry. They still haven't tackled Ty Chandler. Minnesota ran the ball up and down the field on the Niners for over almost 150 yards on over 6 yards a carry. So that's inexcusable. That's not championship football. Minnesota also had 6 sacks. They had 8 tackles for loss. They had 7 hits on the quarterback. So, the Niner offensive line didn't do a good enough job in pass protection. I thought Kyle was a little unbalanced as far as run pass. That was another factor in this thing. The Vikings maintained total balance all the way through this game and played tempo. And it really looked like the offensive mastermind was Kevin O'Connell. Minnesota won on the money down. They say the third down in the NFL is the money down. The Vikings won on third down. They converted a lot, and the Niners converted 2 of 10. So the Niners O-line's got to take blame for the fact that Purdy was sacked 6 times. Purdy's got to take blame for the turnovers and for the fact that he held the ball too long. Brandon Ayuk got broken off and given a ton of money. Where the heck has he been? 4 catches for 43 yards. He's been a total non-factor for 2 straight games. So the defense got carved up by Sam Darnold. The O-line was great in week 1 as a run blocking unit, but when you asked them to pass block in week 2, they gave up 6 sacks. So, Niners got away from offensive balance. It was 60-40 pass run. And defensively, they allowed Minnesota to run for over 6 yards a carry. Leonard Floyd was a total zero. Did he play? He had no sacks. He had no pressures. He had no tackles. So Floyd was a non-factor. If Beal played, I didn't see him. Yatir Gross-Matos wasn't a big factor. So, the only 49er defensive end that did anything in this game was Nick Bosa. Hargrave and Collins on paper should have dominated against this Minnesota interior. They did not. They had 0 sacks combined. I don't think either had a pressure. If the 49ers didn't get an all-world performance out of Fred Warner, they would have gotten destroyed. Mooney Ward was asked after the game, should you have been traveling to all over the field with Jefferson? He said, you know what? I think I have my best success when I do that. Somehow Kevin O'Connell got Justin Jefferson matched up on Jair Brown. That's a mismatch. So I think Kyle got outcoached. I think Sam Darnold outplayed Brock Purdy. I think the 49er offensive line struggled in pass protection. I think Brandon Ayuk looks like just a guy. Doesn't look special at all. The Niner defensive tackle should have kicked ass and didn't. Bosa was the only defensive end who did anything. If Devondre Campbell is a great player, I'm not seeing it. It seemed like Fred Warner was out there by himself. And the secondary, there were way, way, way too many openings and way too many open receivers on third downs and way too much space for the Viking offense. So, hey, man, I hope these guys, they say, hey, man, we win as a team, we lose as a team. Well, the Niners lost as a team. They weren't good on special teams. They weren't good enough defensively. I know there are people out there that are like, hey, this is the second straight game that the offense, they didn't score points in the Super Bowl and they didn't score points in this game. I don't know why we have to choose. I have no idea why we have to choose between who deserves blame here, the offense or the defense. You gave up a 97-yard pass play, the longest pass play in the history of the 49ers. Okay? No defensive end outside of Bosa made any impact on this game at all. The Niner defensive front was like complete no-show. Hargrave and Collins should have dominated and didn't. Way too much room in the secondary. Mooney got beat for a touchdown, whether he was following guys or not following Jefferson. He got cooked on the play action by Naylor. So I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd be begging for Jefferson if I couldn't cover Naylor. So, it was a collective effort. Defensively, they didn't do the job. Shanahan, I would have loved to have seen a few more carries for the Niner running backs. I personally would have loved to have seen Taylor. I don't think Guerrero is a running back, guys. I said it before. I think he's an athlete. I think he's big and strong and fast. I don't think he's a running back. I think that one carry he was given kind of showed he doesn't have instincts. Now, Patrick Taylor is a running back, and I would like to see Patrick Taylor a little bit. But right now, Jordan Mason looks great, and I would have run him a little bit more. Purdy was under pressure. He's now played very well against the NFC, except for the Vikings. He's got 2 losses in his career against the NFC. Both of them came in Minnesota against these Vikings. So that's that. You got to credit the other teams sometimes as well. Sam Darnold played with poise. Justin Jefferson, lit the Niners ablaze. Blake Cashman, the former Houston Texan linebacker, had 13 tackles. He had a sack. He had 3 pass defensed. This one's frustrating, though, because the Niners held the ball for 34 minutes. They had 67 plays to 54. They had 24 first downs to 17. And they lost this game. And now they've lost 8 straight trips to Minneapolis, and at 1-1 they'll take on the beat up Rams next week, who are 0-2 and desperate. So that's the NFL. You get the week 1 win, everybody's feeling good, everybody's kissing everybody's butt. Now you get to week 2, you get beat, everybody's going to crush, and with all kinds of criticism, and staring you in the face is a desperate Ram team that says, "Hey man, nobody cares about your crying. We're worse off than you." So there you go. That all leads to 23-17 Vikings. Thanks once again to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Mancini's Sleep World. Once again, whether you're shopping online or visiting in store, use that code KRUG10 and you'll get 10% off in store or online at sleepworld.com. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show. We're nearly at 50,000 subs on YouTube.